Hey, welcome back to the Writer's Room. I'm really excited to be with you all today. Again, I'm Sarah Cannell, and this is a place where we meet every Monday if you're watching these as they come out, but whenever you need them during the week to really adopt the mindset, the actions, the strategies, the craft to allow us to make the impact we want to make in the world through writing, through speaking, through our creative visions. And so I'm really happy that you're here. And I'm excited to dive in because today we're going to have some fun with a writer named Fernando Pessoa. So I'm not sure how many of you know Pessoa's work. He is a Lisbon-based writer, poet, and then the author of what is considered to be his seminal work, the Book of Disquiet, which is this book. Isn't this a gorgeous edition? I just got this when I was in New York City, and a friend introduced me to his passion for Pessoa, and I thought, well, let me just take a deep dive. And there's some really powerful stuff here, and there's so much we could say. Pessoa lived in many ways as not quite a recluse, but in a very sort of devout life dedicated to the art of writing. But what I think stands out for our work today and the exercise I want to try together is that one thing that made him incredibly unique, and some people attribute this to maybe some insanity or madness that he experienced in his lifetime, but instead of just writing as Fernando Pessoa, he actually created a whole host. I mean, something like, I believe at some point hundreds, I would have to look, but they're sort of core heteronyms is what he called them. So instead of a pseudonym, he created what he called heteronyms, and they were entirely different personalities that would write. Some of them wrote entire poetry collections, some of these heteronyms that he created, mostly men, one woman, all different political ideologies. And so he was essentially giving himself permission. The way I take it is that instead of needing to just write as he, Fernando Pessoa, he freed himself potentially out of prejudices or constraints or limitations that he himself might have experienced, and instead let himself write as these other voices, which is really fascinating. It's kind of what we do in fiction anyway, right? Because we're all writing it as the creator, but he did it really explicitly and consciously as a creative device. And so I'll just read a couple things that I found inspiring in this from the Book of Disquiet. But then the action step for today is for you to create a heteronym. If you feel blocked, stuck, like just something's not alive on the page, we did last month a whole writer's room on the alter ego, right? By Todd Herman, and how you can find another part of yourself to come forward if you're feeling resistance or stuck or fear. And then that part can actually potentially have access to new confidence, new ideas. And so Pessoa was tapping into all different ones, an aristocrat, others are very humanitarian, some are spiritual. So try out writing a piece. It could be a 5-minute prompt or an entire section of your work that you're doing. And try out writing as a heteronym. Try out creating a different personality that it's like, who would rock this section is Stephen King. Like, he would just kill it. He would just find a cool way to say you're scared, and he wouldn't use any cliches, and he would make it really like riveting. Or maybe it's Toni Morrison, or maybe it's who else? Isabella Allende, right? So pick someone, and it doesn't even have to be a known person. You could just make someone up. Who would really be able to write this scene really well, or this section really well, would be a woman who had never had a teacher tell her she sucked, or never had a critical parent, or create a heteronym who's free of any of the constraints you're feeling. Someone who's not trying to parent and figure out camp and blah 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 right now, and someone who is just like a hermit writer, and they would write this really well. Let them do it. Choose a heteronym. Okay, here are some of the things that came out because of the wonderful Fernando Pessoa writing as different heteronyms. Like, I just want to read just some of the work that he created and some of the imagery and lyrical language. My very favorite thing so far, honestly, in this book, let me find it, is, where is it? Oh God, he said something so extraordinary. So again, he's not writing as Fernando Pessoa here. He's writing as this character of himself. And he writes this book is the autobiography of someone who never existed. Isn't that great? And that's kind of true of any fiction, right? Any fiction that's about someone. But let me find the bird part. Where's the birds? I thought I had this marked for us, but that's okay because it's letting me kind of pour back through. Even has these sort of writings to Our Lady of Silence, like someone might write to the Virgin Mother, and he says, Madonna of stagnant waters and dead algae, tutelary goddess of vast desert and dark landscapes of barren rocks, opium of all silences. Isn't that great? That's not the part I was thinking of, but now I have to find. It's going to make me crazy if I can't find this one for you guys, because it's just so cool. But even this, let our love be a prayer. I will make a rosary on which all my tediums will be Our Fathers and all my anxieties Hail Marys. Isn't that fun? A way to twist the Catholic rosary to be about fears and anxieties. Thus we will remain forever like the figure of a man in a stained glass window opposite the figure of a woman in another stained glass window. The centuries will not touch our glassy silence. Let us be as chaste as dead lips, as pure as dreamed bodies, as resigned to being both these things as mad little nuns. I mean, I just think that's crazy. And now I finally did find it. Okay. I was like, I'm not ending this until I can end. So again, these are these sort of odes, and, he's writing to a sort of chaste lover is sort of the style he's using in this particular section. Your hands are like caged doves. All your gestures are birds. You are a swallow when you stoop down, a condor when you look at me, an eagle in your ecstasies. You are merely a fluttering of wings. Winged, winged, winged. Oh my gosh. I mean, I want to write a sentence like all your gestures are birds. Like that alone, I'm like, drop the mic. Like if I got nothing else out of this book, it's a win. All your gestures are birds. So again, Fernando Pessoa, maybe he didn't think he could come up with something cool like that. So he created a heteronym who could. So that's what we're going to try out this week. Take a piece that's not feeling it's going the way you want, or start a new prompt and just write not as you, with all of your own unique shortcomings and geniuses, but create a new voice and see what comes on the page. All right, see you next week.